I was a nerd. I was a geek.
Fireworks started going.
Mr. Soto, as I recall, got very busted for that.
I was a Boy Scout. I knew better.
Like, I didn't know what I was doing. Hi guys, my name is Fontaine Judd. You may remember me as Brian Judd, but I now go by Fontaine. That's P-H-O-N-T-A-I-N-E. I am 37 years old and I currently reside in Sacramento, California. And I speak, read, and write fluent Chinese, or at least I used to. 我很喜欢讲中国话. Hey, will you guys keep it down? I'm trying to make a video here. As of right now, we have 10 children.
Alright, I'm ready. My name is Gavin Fish. Man, I didn't even do my hair for this. Ma, me, me, mo, moo, watermelon, watermelon.
Hello, I'm Kim Cantrell, still living in Sacramento. Over the last 20 years, I've lived many places, but I boomeranged back to Sacktown, and I've been living here for about 10 years. I work at a nonprofit. I'm a program manager there.
So my name is Ed Fletcher, and I'm a reporter at Sacramento Bee, and I was a student body president in high school. So people often say, oh, you're student body president, you must have been popular, but that's kind of a misnomer because the cool kids really didn't like me. So I kind of bounced around between the geeks that were kind of boring and the jocks that were kind of dumb. Sorry, friends.
During high school, I was a nerd, I was a geek, I was a dork.
I was kind of the social butterfly, so to speak. Group number 1, Mormon Mafia. Group number 2, Photo Geek. So, Mormon Mafia, Photo Geek. By the end of it, I was a drama geek. Really enjoyed the theater classes. Oh, also a yearbook geek. Yeah, I was co-photo editor of the 1993 Rampages, which, as we all remember, the theme was making it work. And I'm hopeful that after 20 years, many of you have made it work. I, for one, go back to the yearbook from time to time just to see how I'm doing, because there's a lot of valuable insights in there. Yearbooks are not just about photography.
Back in high school, I was pretty involved. I did a lot of different things, played some sports, but the main thing I did was student government, all 4 years.
What was I listening to in the 1990s? I don't know, whatever everybody else was listening to, whatever was on the radio.
KWOD, Sacramento, Quad 106.5.
I remember how disappointed I was when I heard that Magic Johnson had HIV.
First of all, let me say good late afternoon. Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
I do remember the fall of the Berlin Wall. I remember thinking that was a big deal.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Berlin.
From the Berlin Wall specifically, take a look at them. They've been there since last night.
I was only a freshman, so what was I, like 13 years old? I remember thinking it was kind of exciting, the freedom and the concept of freedom and rights and democracy spreading across the globe was very exciting. And of course that ultimately led to the fall of the Soviet Union. But I just remember being excited.
There was one time at school where Mr. Soto, who was the drama teacher, wanted all of the acoustical tiles, the drop ceiling, taken out from the little theater. And we were painting the whole theater black. I was in there with a few people, and we were taking out the acoustical tiles, and I pulled down a tile that had a fire alarm attached to it, and I was very, very careful to take the fire alarm off without wires touching or anything like that. In fact, I think I remember breaking the tile off of it. So I was very, very careful, and it just kind of dangled there in the room. Well, we kept going, and then a few minutes later, the fire alarm went off, the whole thing, and everybody was exiting. We looked out the door, and the entire school was evacuating out to the different evacuation zones. And I said to myself, this couldn't possibly be our fault. We did that a while ago, and so nobody knows we're in here. The teacher wasn't in there. There were just a few of us. Let's just keep going. So we kept on working on the tiles, and pretty soon the custodian came in and busted us. And Mr. Soto, as I recall, got very busted for that.
So the class of 1993 had a lot of spirit. Our freshman year, we won the Spirit Box at one of the rallies. And prior to that, no one could remember a class that actually won a rally freshman year. But we didn't stop there. We won rallies our sophomore year, and then a lot in our junior and senior year.
All right, so junior year, I had gotten moved up into the Smart People English class. And so it's Mrs. Curtis's class, and she was real particular about how everything was lined up. And everybody had to sit in alphabetical order, and the room had to be just perfect. Mrs. Curtis was also a smoker, and she had to go and leave campus between classes to go smoke, and she'd go off to the park, and she'd burn a quick one, and then she'd hustle back to class. So often we'd be in class before she got to class. So somewhere along the line, we started this game of moving her little picture of Ernest Hemingway, or we'd turn him upside down or turn him backwards. She'd always walk in, she'd always notice, and she'd move him, set him right, and then she would begin class. So one day, she's gone, and we get this grand idea that we should reverse the classroom. So we moved every desk, every person, everything, an exact mirror image of her classroom, except facing the opposite way. Everybody was in their seats and quiet when she walked in, and her face was just sort of a mixture of just sort of bemusement and because what are you going to do? So she couldn't move everything back, so she just taught class in the opposite direction that day, and then we had to move everything back.
Ed and I were rally commissioner our junior year, and I remember, I think it was our last rally, working together. He dressed up as Santa Claus and I dressed up as an elf, and this was our December rally. And we had our activity for all the classes to participate in was to put someone inside of a trash can and give them a bunch of presents that they needed to throw inside of chimneys. And so, of course, it was our job to show how to do it as an example. So I climb into the trash can, and Ed starts pushing me around, and he starts pushing me faster and faster. And I'm not paying attention. I'm like throwing the presents into the chimney. They're going everywhere. And the next thing I know, we turn a corner, and I'm going so fast, and Ed lets go, and I can't stay upright. So I tip, and I'm going so fast, I just go out, just spread eagle, like on the flat on my stomach in front of the school.
So we decided we would run out for a couple hours and we'd have a good time when we'd come back. And we all piled into Eric Nelson's Suburban.
Shotgun! How come you get shotgun? I'm the editor-in-chief. I should sit in the front. Just get in, Ingrid.
So we went out and we had pancakes or waffles or something like that.
Yay, pancakes! We are so bad. So bad. This is my first time cutting. We are the best yearbook staff ever.
When we came back in, we were busted immediately and sent to the office where we were given suspensions. And I remember vividly that Ingrid was very upset about getting a suspension because Ingrid was an honors student. And that's what she kept on saying.
No, you can't suspend me. I'm an honor student. I'm the yearbook editor. If you suspend me, it'll go on my permanent record and I'll have to go to Sac State and live in Roseville all my life.
Tears flowing down her face. I'm an honor student. I'm not supposed to get suspension.
My sophomore year, I was assigned to Mr. Bauer's homeroom class. And it was a lot of fun because you never knew what kind of stories that guy was going to come up with. His classroom was way outside on the edge of campus, right by the pit, so you had to walk through the parking lot to get there. And when you got there, you never knew what he was going to come up with. He told us all kinds of stories. He would always talk about his wife, his dear wife, Happy Poopage. And when he would tell us that, we got a little bit confused because his last name was Bauer, but yet her name was Happy Poopage. And so we didn't believe him for a very, very long time, because I think I had him for homeroom for a couple of years. A couple years go by, and then my friend Vanessa Hartstrom was his TA, and she came back and said, I saw her ID. Her name really is Happy Poopage.
So one story that stands out is the bonfire.
The bonfire. Junior year, Ed and I were rally commissioners and in charge of the bonfire.
So we were in charge of making this bonfire. It's basically like a rally, but outside. I'd never done one before, but it seemed pretty simple.
We worked really hard to get all of the wood put in the very back of the school and trucked it out there. And it was unfortunate because it was kind of rainy. A lot of the wood was wet.
And it was kind of a misty day, so it was like a little wet. We didn't really think anything of it.
And so the night of the bonfire, we were worried that it wouldn't light.
So time for the bonfire arrives, and we go out there, and all the students start arriving, and the cheerleaders are there, and everybody's cheering, and we're starting the rah-rah, and then it's time to light the bonfire.
And we were right to be worried because it wouldn't light.
So we go, and Mr. G tells me that I should pour gas on it.
And so I had the microphone, and I was talking about something or another, but no one was paying attention to me because Ed had decided to stoke the fire by pouring gas on it.
And I was a Boy Scout. I knew better. But Mr. G was a teacher. He told me to do it, and I'm like, sure, okay, this will make sense. This fire will start, no problem. So I put gas on the fire, put the gas can down, light the bonfire, and the fire starts. Fireworks start shooting out occasionally because our good friends had put fireworks inside the bonfire while we were gone. So this is kind of distracting, but then the fire starts to like die down and the fire goes out. So then Mr. G's like, oh, pour some more gas on there. So of course I do. I pour some more gas on there, and then I light the fire back up. It goes up, we're cheering, everybody's excited.
Fireworks started going off.
And it's starting to go down again. So then Mr. G's like, pour some more gas on there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, right. So I'm pouring more gas on there as the fire's still going.
Fireworks started going off.
And this is a grand plan, everything's going great. And then I hear screaming.
Fireworks started going off.
And people are screaming.
I looked around the crowd and saw fire slowly following Ed in the gas can.
And I look down and I see that my feet are on fire.
Oh shit, man! It's on fire! Ah, let's get out
I forgot that I was talking on the microphone and I was screaming, oh no, Ed! Oh no, Ed!
And I stomp my feet out, like touching one foot on top of the other.
Oh shit! Whoa, 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 whoa!
There's more screaming, people are running, and I see that there's a line of fire like coming towards the gas can.
And it was just madness at that point.
And I run, I kick the gas can away from the flames as everybody runs away.
And it just kind of went off the hook from there.
And the bonfire was over.
It was the most eventful bonfire that I can remember of all 4 years. Even if the fire wasn't the biggest fire ever, it definitely was the only one in which a person caught on fire.